Hello, welcome back to the channel. I love you. And let's get right into it. I want to talk about self-esteem, particularly about how being kind to myself completely transformed my life, the way I view myself, my confidence, my productivity, my ability to just go out in the world and do something and feel good about myself while doing it. It's being kind to myself that has changed that. And let me give you a little background about my life and why self-esteem and beating myself up has been such a big thing in my life. Now this is my theory. We can all have theories about our own traumas and stuff, but this is what makes the most sense in my brain of why I think I have historically beat myself up so much in the past. So you can kind of see eczema, right? When I was little, I had really, 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 really bad eczema. It was covering my hands, my elbows, my knees. It was all over my body. And in class, when I was little, it was so itchy, man. It was itchy. I'd scratch. And then I'd bleed, and it was gross. And at that age, you're first grade, kindergarten, kids thought that was gross. And it sort of made me feel not accepted by my peers and not good enough. So right there, my self-esteem was damaged. I felt like there's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. Why was I born like this? And with the itching, let me tell you, this was so itchy. And I'm also, you gotta understand, I'm a first grader. I don't have self-control yet. I'm literally just you can't tell me not to itch. I can't not itch at that point in my life, right? But I was told by doctors and parents and all that, and people who just cared about me and wanted me to stop itching so that this could heal, right? And people would tell me, don't itch. But I couldn't not itch. So I would tell myself I'm never itching ever again, and then a couple hours later I'd be itching. And this would repeat over and over and over again until I learned I can't do the things I set out to do. When I make a plan to do something, it's rare that I actually do it because I'm learning over and over and over again. It's just getting engraved into my brain that I can't do it. And it's getting engraved to my brain by all the peers around me that I'm not good enough because I have this thing that's making me outcasted, right? So I think that's a big reason of why my self-esteem was damaged. And it was also I'll also add this, at that age, because I wasn't accepted, I didn't feel accepted, right? I would purposely misbehave in class because then I would make the whole class laugh. And that was my way of receiving validation. And then the teacher, I would get punished by the teachers, man. And the teachers really made me feel like I was a bad kid. So then that also just continued engraving that there's something wrong with me, that I'm not good enough. And that's one big reason why I think my self-esteem was damaged. But I also just think society in general is a big cause of this. We all live in this world where, you're being judged constantly by everything, whether it's on social media or just in life in general. I mean, we're trained to when we make a mistake, we get scolded and there's something wrong with you if you fuck up. And it's no, messing up is a perfectly natural thing in life. And this goes into what I had to learn to really heal from this, because I'm so excited to say this. Genuinely, I have healed so much from what I said earlier. From what happened in my life to where I'm at now, I feel confident. I feel good about myself. I'm more productive as I've ever been, and it's because of the things that I'm about to share in this video. So, I'm so grateful that I just went through this inner work to do this, because it's transformed my life. So, okay. The first thing is beating myself up. I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about mentally, right? If I set out on a goal and I mess up, if I just make a mistake in general in life, I used to tell myself, there you go again, Travis, and just beat myself up for it. But I've changed the way that I speak to myself. What this really has come down to is changing my relationship with myself. Instead of beating myself up for every little thing, I start being supportive of myself. Kind of like how you would talk to your friend, right? If your friend is struggling with something, would you say to your friend, like, yeah, you fucking suck. You suck. Like, no. You'd be supportive, be like, hey, we all make mistakes sometimes. It's okay. Let's kind of like reground ourselves here and say, what do we want to do now moving forward, right? So that's sort of how I've done this with myself. If I make a mistake, I used to be like, what? Okay, like let's give an example, right? Let's say I wanted to not eat any sugar for a month. Let's say I would go for like 4 days, and then on day 5 I'd mess it up. Instead of me getting back day 6 and re-going again, I'd be like, no, the whole thing's screwed now. Okay? That's because I was beating myself up. Instead, now I say, hey, you know what, Travis? These things happen. You're not gonna be perfect. It's so unrealistic for me to try to tell myself I'm just never gonna mess anything up ever again. Sorry, my paper behind me. So instead I say, you know what, this happens, Travis, but let's take this as a growing experience. What do you think led to this, right? Let's try to think about how I can prevent this from happening again in the future, and just say, it happened. It's okay. It is okay to mess up. Now, people will hear me say that, right? And say, well, you're just making an excuse so that you can feel better about making mistakes. If you really want to stop making mistakes, you'd be hard on yourself. So you can finally figure out the issues. You're just trying to live in a world of delusion and pretend like there's no problems. No. It's actually kind of the opposite. Okay? Because when I would beat myself up, it would prevent me from being productive. When I stopped beating myself up and I started being kind to myself, that's when I actually became productive in life and started really growing. And it's because of this thing right here, right? And it always comes back to self-esteem. When I beat myself up, I am telling myself a story, a narrative. There's something wrong with you. You are a mistake maker. You screw up. There's something wrong with you. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. That's what I'm doing when I beat myself up. That is the relationship that I'm creating with myself when I beat myself up. And what is the result of that? It causes me to just lay in my bed being quote unquote lazy, scrolling on my phone because I don't believe that I can even get up and do something, because I've created this story that I am someone who cannot do things. I'm not capable in life. That's the story that it creates when I beat myself up. But what did I change it to? And I'm not perfect now, I still beat myself up from time to time, but it has grown a lot, man. And it's because I've changed the narrative. I no longer believe that I'm not worthy. I no longer believe that there's something wrong with me, that I'm not good enough. And the reason I don't believe that anymore is because I've changed the relationship with myself. I've stopped talking to myself in that way. Like I said, the way I talk to myself now, it's all with love and kindness and support. It's like when you talk to a friend, you say, hey, it's okay. We're going to get back on the bandwagon. We're going to get back on it. It's going to be all right. And now my self-esteem has become, I am a person who occasionally makes mistakes, just like any other human being. But I pick myself up. I uplift myself. I want to feel better. I journal about things to feel better. When I'm not feeling good, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to drink water. I'm going to get out, get some sun, get into some nature. This has caused me to have a new narrative in my head about myself. You know, and it's not just about like, oh, it's made me more productive in life, which it has, right? Because now I believe that I'm capable, which allows me to actually do things in life. Not only has it made me more productive, but it's just made me a happier, more fulfilled person in general. If we want to talk about like growth in life, and there's a peak level of like your most fulfilled version of yourself, I truly do not think the most fulfilled version of you has a bad relationship with themselves. In other words, my most happy version, my most fulfilled version of me has a good self-esteem. That version of myself doesn't beat myself up. You know? So it's just now I can just be like, okay, this is a huge one, right? In a conversation with someone, because like I used to really like judge myself in conversations, kind of to do with the trauma that I mentioned earlier in this video, where, you know, I felt like I wasn't getting validation from my peers. So like it caused me later in my life and throughout my life in general, just when talking to people, wanting their validation, trying to like people please and make them like me. I feel like I don't do that anymore because I don't need to anymore, because I already feel okay. I don't need to try to convince someone that I'm good enough so that they give me validation and make me feel better about myself. I don't need to do that anymore because I've changed the relationship with myself by being kind to myself, which upgraded my self-esteem, upgraded my confidence, and now I don't have to people please in conversations. Now I can feel relaxed when I'm talking to people, and I can just enjoy our company with each other. I can just enjoy our time and no longer have to feel stress in a social situation. You know? That's a huge one. Man, I'm wondering if there's anything else. I just really feel like self-esteem is such a major issue for our society right now, and I shared the reasons my self-esteem was hurt, but there's so many other things out there, like social media and beauty standards and just comparing ourselves to others. You know, I will talk about that for a second too before we close out this video. Like, man, there is no need to ever compare ourselves to other people, because, and I know you probably heard this before because it's kind of corny, but like, we are all on our own paths in life. This idea of like, you're supposed to be here at this point in your life and you're supposed to be here at this point in your life, like, that is a complete social construct that was created by our society, and that message has just been drilled into our brains. But in reality, you don't have to be anywhere at any point in any time in your life. You're just here right now, and that's enough. Okay? Everything is already achieved. Everything is already achieved in this moment. You just get to be in this moment. You get to just experience this moment as a human being. There's no standard of you have to get to this certain point and then you can feel good about yourself. No, you can feel good about yourself now. You don't have to get there. This idea is just an idea. It's not real. You can just feel good now. You know, like, dude, this tree didn't need to become a giant oak tree to be good enough. When this oak tree was just a tiny little acorn, it was good enough. It didn't need to become the oak tree to finally then be good enough. Same thing with us in our lives. We are already good enough no matter where you are on your personal journey of life. You're good enough no matter where. And the irony, right? Because then people say to me, right? If you believe you're good enough early on in your journey, like if you think the acorn is good enough before it's grown, how is it gonna grow? Isn't that how people grow? Because they think that they need to become better, they need to become good enough, and then that's what like drives them to improve in life. I think that's a whole bunch of bull, okay? And the reason is because the very thing that has allowed me to grow is believing that I'm good enough. It's not the other way around. People think that you have to have a low self-esteem in order to grow in life. Like, no. Okay? You do not need to be fixed. You're already good enough. Once you realize that, you'll have a better relationship with yourself, which will upgrade your self-esteem, upgrade your confidence, and that will make you more productive. That will make you less anxious in social situations. You know? Well, I can't speak for other people, but this has been the experience for me in my life. So, yeah, you know, if you're watching this, I want you to know you are okay. You are good enough, and you should start being kind to yourself, really. And that doesn't mean like, oh, it's okay to just scroll on my phone in my bed all day. Like, yes, it's okay to do that on occasion and be kind to yourself when you do it and make a mistake, but also recognizing that, hey, this isn't what I actually want to spend my life doing. So I'm going to pick myself up and be kind to myself and help myself to do something that's going to make me feel better. So anyways, I love you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I'm so happy to finally be making videos again. And please like and subscribe and comment, and peace.